Good morning, good morning. How you guys doing today? Glad you can join this session. It's not 8 a.m., but it's still in the morning. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm just looking at S&P 500. I think it's a good time to review S&P, NASDAQ, and the Dow Jones. Take a look at what's taking place because we're seeing some retracements taking place. And we'd like to know just how far this can retrace to. So the first chart I have up here is the S&P. We had contracts expire recently, which shifts the data around a little bit, but nonetheless, we still have an area of demand that's been removed here on the daily chart. Now, the first indication to us that something was likely going to be shifting was when this ascending trend line here was broken through. Okay, so as you can see, this ascending trend line was broken through right here. And so if price was going to continue going higher, it would have likely used this trend line to move price up. But there wasn't buying taking place when this trend line was contacted. So once this trend line broke, it started giving us signals that price is going to go even lower. Now, where can price go to? Well, we have to go up one time frame to determine where is the likelihood of price moving towards. So we had an area of demand here, which was of low quality, and we can see that now price is penetrating through that area. I'm liking this area here. Okay, this is an area where I will be watching. Now, do I think that there's a high probability that price is going to be bought from this area and we see price head higher? Yes, I think so. Okay, I think there's a good chance price comes up here and starts heading back up. All right, but will I blindly buy when price gets to that area? No, I will not. I'll wait for price to get into this area, and then I'll be watching for momentum to start building to the upside again. And then I will look to enter into long positions. So until then, expect some more weakness, okay? That is the higher odds, is more weakness. Again, if we look at the 2-hour chart, we can see price is clearly creating structures to the downside. Previously, we had some demand coming into play right here. And this was after significant buying was taking place here. So they removed some supply. They came in with some demand. They removed this area as well, but they were unable to remove this area of supply here on this 2-hour chart. So that was our first signals that some weakness was coming into the chart. So since then, we've got a nice drop to the downside. And as long as this downward structure continues to maintain itself, and as long as demand zones on these lower time frames continue to be removed, there's nothing to stop price from continuing lower. So if you're holding stocks and you're experiencing some pullback, no big deal. What you got to be focusing on is looking at the S&P, watching it and timing it with this move down towards demand, because as long as the S&P drops, it's likely your stocks are going to drop. There are times where stocks continue to go higher, even as the overall market drops, and we are holding some of those in our portfolio. But it's not something that happens all the time, okay? If your stocks are drawing down, you know the reason why. And, just time it with the contact of the demand, and then it probably bring in good opportunities to buy again. Okay, so the S&P, or the NASDAQ, I should say. So we got our first signal of weakness when this area of demand was being removed here, okay? So when we saw that this buying area was not going to hold, it was likely that price was going to continue. So I posted this on our blog. I said that we had some major roadblocks up ahead in price, which was this area here, okay? But price didn't even want to retrace that high. It was so weak that it just continue to move lower. So as you can see, another area of demand is being removed, and this is the daily time frame. So remember what the daily time frame represents. It represents short-term movement, okay? Multiple days, multiple weeks, short-term movement. So the fact that demand is being removed tells us that over the short to medium term, we can expect more weakness, okay? Now, if we take a look at the weekly chart again, we are coming into contact now with an area of demand. What's more important, a weekly chart or daily? Obviously a weekly chart, because it is a higher time frame. So with that being said, this demand area could be acting as an area for institutions to start buying the NASDAQ again, all right? We'll be watching the lower time frame charts to see if momentum does indeed want to build from that area, okay? So even though daily chart is giving us signals, and even though the 2-hour chart is giving us signals of weakness, the fact that we've contacted demand on the weekly time frame suggests that we could be seeing the beginning of a move to the upside. So what would we be watching for? Well, the first thing is, if you look at the 2-hour chart, we have a descending structure. And as you know, I always pay attention to structures that are created, and that's descending structure. Well, let's move that over just a little bit and show you again, okay? So this is the descending structure that we have in the 2-hour chart. And we have some significant buying that could start coming in down here at the bottom of the chart, okay? So how do we know if this significant buying is going to continue? Well, we have to watch the lower time frame charts and see if this structure breaks out. If it breaks out, it'll go into a neutral territory, okay? If it retraces into areas of demand and continues going higher, we may turn this into a bullish situation, okay? Where we have something like that, ascending trend line, and then this can continue higher. So that's what I'm going to be watching for in the days and potentially weeks to come, watching for signals like this on the lower time frame to see if the NASDAQ does indeed want to go higher. All right. The Dow Jones looking pretty good. We have a nice ascending trend, low quality on the monthly time frame, but we have a move to the upside. We got weekly demand here, very poor trend. So if price is going to continue higher, we need new formations to be created, because the formations that are on the charts right now are low quality, meaning the move is not, it's not high odds that it's going to be sustained, this move to the upside, okay? Unless new buying comes in, new structures are created, all right? So we're watching this chart to see if that's eventually going to be produced. Now let's go over to Microsoft. So there's a lot of talk about some of the big cap names experiencing a sell-off, and that it's just the beginning of the sell-off and all sorts of stuff. Well, I don't really care about what the headlines say in terms of listening to them for advice. What I like to do is pay attention to the media just to see what it is that they're trying to instigate in terms of emotional responses. But if I look at Microsoft, for instance, one thing I see on this weekly time frame is that we have an upward trend, and the last area of significant buying is this area that we're sitting in right now, okay? So the likelihood is that we see price rally from this area. Okay, that's the likelihood. Is it going to happen? Who knows? We never know 100% if something's going to happen, but we can watch the lower time frames to see what takes place from here. Now, as you can see, we have, again, this descending structure. Okay, if that breaks out of the descending structure and then eventually produces a bullish structure, then you know with a higher degree of certainty that we're going to see a move to the upside from that area. But as far as I can tell by looking at Microsoft stock, it looks pretty good. I mean, drops are necessary. Stocks can't go up forever. You know, there's buying and then there's taking profits, right? There's buying, and then the headlines start talking really bullish about those stocks. Retail traders get in, they buy at the highs, and then that's usually when the profits are being taken, okay? Only for the retracement to take place and for them to set up for another round of buying again. All right. Walmart holding very well. We got multiple long signals here that we've been posting to members, and it's holding its own here at the highs. So I'm waiting for a bigger retrace and then buying and adding at a lower price. Okay. Tesla been one on the headlines today. Why is it dropping? Well, if you take a look at the monthly chart, you'll see why it's dropping, because it has contacted an area of supply. Remember, supply was contacted here and price dropped. Well, it contacted here again and it is dropping. I have mentioned previously to members, and I believe I mentioned it on a previous YouTube video, I would not be buying Tesla until this area of supply is taken out first. Okay? Price is ranging. We have supply in play, so not a good time to be buying. Bank of America, Warren Buffett's taking profits, and it's interesting how Warren Buffett is taking profits right as an institutional area of supply is contacted. Incredible timing, if you ask me. Okay, so this is a major institutional area of selling. Price got up to the 40s, high 40s. Major institutions were selling the stock. They drove it down to down here. Warren Buffett's average price is $25, and now he's taking profits at the $44 mark, which is exactly the area of supply of the big institutions. So I don't know, are big institutions maybe giving him insight? Is certain people, you know, talking in his ear and letting him know where big institutional orders are to sell? I don't know, but I'm just pointing out what I do know for a fact. Institutional supply is up there, and Warren Buffett's taking profits at that exact area. Okay. IBM, remember the long signal on this one? Beautiful. Now, why was it a long signal? Well, because as you remember, we had spotted some institutional buying of the stock down here. Okay. Remember, I was pointing that out. Institutional buying coming here. Institutional buying coming here. So we had a signal to buy. Where was our signal to buy? Right down here. Where is our stop loss in case we were wrong? Right there. Okay. We had two targets on this one. Here was our first target that got hit here, and here's our second target. And as you can see, do you think it's a coincidence that the earnings came out and it was positive? You think it's a coincidence that the big institutional money were coming in May and buying up the stock, and in June buying up the stock, all of July buying up the stock, and then now at the end of July earnings come out and it's positive? Do you think that's a coincidence? You could think whatever you want. I know I've studied enough charts and I've looked at the supply and demand and the institutional buying, and I've seen the results when earnings come out. It's always major. It seems to be major coincidences. I put it this way. I'll put it that way, where big money comes in and buys before incredibly good news. So just wanted to pass that on to you. Let's go over to Chipotle Mexican Grill. I see this one retracing. This is a really nice chart. This is a company that's rallied quite significantly over the last few years. I mean, they were below $10. They made it over $60 in a matter of no time, really, a few years. So now it seems like major profit taking place, which is great. And I see potential for this one to drop down to the $45 area, and then potentially building up momentum to continue higher. All right. If not, it could surpass the 45 area and head down even lower. But my eyes are telling me there's significant buying in the 45 area. So I'll be paying attention to this one and watching for momentum to build from that area. And then I'll be looking to buy this one, because I think it's a pretty good stock to hold from what I'm seeing. Crowd. So CrowdStrike Holdings, a lot of bad press lately because of, well, I got the articles here. The outage that recently took place, being blamed on CrowdStrike. So you could see price retracing. So it's very interesting, right? Very interesting that all this negative news is coming out, but where does price retrace down into? An area of significant buying. This area here was an area where big institutions were buying the stock. Now listen, if the big institutions have plans to buy the stock, they're going to buy. It doesn't matter what the headlines are. It doesn't matter what happens in the news. Okay. It doesn't matter what happens. The news always helps to facilitate the price action. Okay. Profit taking at the 380s. Now it's dropping down into significant area buying. The odds are we're going to see momentum start to build from here, and the big institutions are going to be coming back in to buy this stock. Okay. I'm just saying, do I know for a fact it's going to happen? No, I don't know for a fact, but it's something that I want you to pay attention to because it's pretty decent odds when you take a look at the situation on the charts. All right, ladies and gents, that is it. Those are some of the key charts I wanted you to know about and some of the key things that are taking place. So pay attention to those things, and then next time we do a show, maybe not next show, but in the near future, we'll re-examine these charts and see what ended up taking place. Okay? That's it for now. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll talk to you later.